Okay, so first up, I'd just like to know why you decided to get the coaching session.
Um, I saw a few of your videos and I thought you had a good grasp on Echo. Uh, I was looking for, I've been looking for coaching for a while, but most of the stuff I found was either not high quality enough or it was like an entire program. And I thought I want to start with one session ideally
Mm-hmm.
to, see if it works for me, um, and if I want to keep doing it.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. So I guess this season is basically over. I don't think you will have any more goals this season. Maybe like next season, what's your goal, rank wise?
I think maybe like high diamond and maybe masters if I have a lot of spare time.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. There's not much more goals. Like I wouldn't expect you to say D3 or something. So yeah. I
I want to win
guess
4 more games.
yeah, exactly. No, I think master. I mean, depending on where you're actually at the moment, it's obviously something I'll see. Maybe master will be possible, and of course, you can always improve anyways. So
Mhm.
yeah, I guess what's your biggest weakness at the moment that you've identified yourself?
Um, I think my late game macro is not very good,
Mm-hmm.
and I think um, my map awareness and jungle tracking. Sometimes when I really focus on that, it goes really well, but sometimes when I focus more on the lane, I lose track of the jungler,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a problem.
Yeah, I guess what kind of mistakes do you make in the late game, or like what's your problem exactly in the late game?
I always find it hard to find the balance between getting more gold to reach my items and losing gold to get objectives and to stay for team fights.
Okay. Okay. So like yeah, I guess finding the balance, but usually it goes kind of hand in hand, you know. Let's say you get a pick, for example, and then you just
Hmm.
generate gold by getting the pick first of all, and then you usually just get an objective afterwards, you know. That's like the very basic way League of Legends games are won, let's say, you know, by
Yeah.
just creating
The,
numbers advantages and then getting objectives.
the biggest problem I have usually is the tier 2 tower on the side lane because I'm like, yeah, we can contest for maybe like a herald. Um, but there's also someone already on bot lane, so at worst it's a 4v4 there. If I go there, we can pretty much secure the herald, but if I go bot, maybe we can. Well, if there's someone bot, then usually I don't go bot. Uh,
I mean, you should definitely be on the lane alone most of the time as a solo
yeah, yeah,
laner. It always depends. Like if you have TP, you can definitely play more of a split pushing
yeah,
playstyle, and if you have ignite, it's much more difficult, of course. So then you should often just look to play with your team and create those numbers advantages, so you can just get those big objectives, or maybe get the towers together. So yeah, that's definitely
yeah.
something you'll have to adapt every game. But generally, I think, for example, if you say like objectives are not gold, but of course turrets are a lot of gold. You know, like getting a tier two
Mm-hmm.
tower is like more than 2 kills basically.
675 gold,
Yeah,
two waves with it. You're sitting at
exactly.
almost 1k gold. It's
So
crazy.
that's massive for snowballing, and it's also even more massive for winning the game because, you know, like something I've really only understood how valuable it is just killing those towers means that of course the
Oh,
minions won't
no.
get cleared automatically. So it means that the minions will just naturally push further into the enemy base, which means that people like the enemies will have to go there more often, which then in turn means that
Yeah.
you'll create numbers advantages by that oftentimes, you know, because someone has to go there. Or if they don't go there, then they will simply lose gold on the map, and you'll also be more ahead because of that. So I guess that's a good way to think about the game, especially as a laner, you know, and that's why towers are just so valuable.
It
Mm,
also opens up the map more, of course, so you can take jungle
exactly.
camps easier.
Yeah, yeah,
Stuff.
that as well, of course, of course. That's kind of the same thing, right? Like the
Yeah.
being pushed further back is kind of opening up the map. So yeah,
Hmm.
but of course, yeah, it's also for the jungle, makes it basically so you just take over the jungle at some point. Are there like specific situations other than let's say the whole late game where you feel like you struggle in, and there was things that you already said, kind of, but maybe other situations where you feel like you often struggle in?
The balance between roaming and lane domination. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's really rough to decide, okay, I could go for a pick here, I could go for a kill on the enemy mid laner, but I could also roam to bot. And then like roam has for me a high risk, high reward kind of idea. Because like
Yeah.
it can go wrong, and then you missed out on an opportunity. And like killing the mid laner is kind of a much safer option if you correct. If
But
you
do
have
you
correct.
feel like that's often the case where it's like you 100% have a kill in mid lane and you could also roam? Because I feel like oftentimes you like
Yeah, it's never 100%, but
yeah,
like
like
you
because
got a
I
pretty good. Like even if you don't kill them, you force the back and you crash the wave, so you still get an advantage out of that.
but it's also the same time can be risky, of course, because the jungler can be around
Hmm.
in mid lane.
So only if you have good jungle tracking, of course.
Yeah. So because I think if you can kill your enemy lane opponent, you should usually do it because like roaming is of course always an investment, a lot of time
Hmm.
investment. But Ekko's actually kind of good, after level 7 where you can consistently just push in the waves, you should always be half roaming, You should always just be stepping out
Hmm.
of the lane unless you can dominate the lane. Like you should always be stepping out of the lane just so you create pressure.
Yeah.
And then of course sometimes people just might not, especially in your elo, but like I mean you're not low elo or anything like that, but like in D4 and like even in low master, people constantly just
Hmm.
disrespect and don't like they will just overextend, and then when they do that, you just punish them because you're already halfway in the river. Actually,
Yeah.
what setup do you play with? I didn't really look. Okay,
Depends.
no Relentless Hunter. I
Uh,
think you should definitely play Relentless Hunter for mid lane, to be honest. I think most good
it
echoes do
really
that
helps with
nowadays.
roaming. That's true.
Yeah, and not just roaming, it also just scales better. And I will explain in a
Mhm.
second as well, but I guess one other question I just have is just some maybe bad habits or common mistakes that you've noticed in your gameplay.
Um, I think I sometimes undervalue Merc threats.
Okay.
Um, like last game versus Lysandra, I just picked the wrong runes. I should have gone Tenacity. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had to Band-Aid fix it with Merc threats, but I also bought them too late. I started with it was a disaster.
Mm.
Basically that.
And gameplay wise, any bad habits maybe?
Um,
I mean, if nothing comes to mind,
not
then
not that
that's
I
it.
know of, but I'm sure you'll find
Yeah,
plenty.
yeah. Okay. So I guess yeah, I guess we can go into the OPGG and I will share some thoughts about that. Tell me when you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so of course the stats and everything are a little bit different for mid lane Echo than for jungle Echo. Um,
Mhm.
I would say in general in mid lane you can have a little bit higher deaths, but your deaths are still way too high. Like 7 deaths
Yeah.
is way too high for Echo, and it really stifles your snowballing, and it just like makes you lose your Dark Seal stacks and stuff. So Echo is a very good champ at not dying because he has like basically every single ability, including his passive, helps him to not die. So yeah, it's definitely something you need to work on, especially for consistency. Like not dying is consistency in a way. And I don't know if you were like active in the Discord where this like crazy 1000 LP Echo, but he has like 2 average deaths.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's so
Yeah,
crazy. Like that
that's
was
crazy.
even insane. Like that really shocked me as well, especially because he had like 350 games or something. But like that just means as a mid lane Echo you can also die very little. And then I guess another thing, in jungle, the CSing is you can have a place there where you can go without CSing too much, but I think in mid lane you simply need to have like 8 CS or whatever if you want to get to
Yeah.
master. So like you really need to have a solid CSing. And I guess kind of contrary to popular belief, or like popular belief from lower elo players especially, is just that you don't need to farm well in the early game. Like you really don't. In some matchups, you will simply have to drop a lot of farm in the early game. That's just how it is. But you will easily pick it up after the point where you just one Q clear the
Yeah,
waves.
from level 7, you shouldn't miss any more minions, I
I
think.
mean, yeah, not really, unless you're pressured, of course. So
Mhm.
most of the time, the low CS numbers then come just from the fact that you're not where you need to be. You're not on the side there when you need to be there and this kind of stuff. So yeah, and also of course, if you're really in a decent position, just like don't be afraid to invade enemy jungle camps when you're on the side and like taking the Crux or the Grump or whatever. It's definitely something that can also boost your average CS numbers a little bit.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, I already said the build. I think Relentless Hunter is generally better, and the reason for that is that Treasure Hunter doesn't scale well. Like it's good
Yeah.
for snowballing, and that's why in jungle it's fine. But even in jungle, I actually stopped taking it. But in jungle, it's fine because you can kind of run around, run all around the map and collect all the stacks somewhat early, more consistently than in mid lane, you know. But in mid lane, you usually just will, if anything, roam to like one lane. Maybe you will kill the jungler. So you generally at like 20 minutes, you will have probably like 3 out of the 5 stacks, unless you're doing like really, really well. So then the Relentless Hunter, it doesn't matter, you know? Like, Relentless Hunter, you're happy to get the stacks whenever, basically. You don't need to get them early. And with the Treasure Hunter, you really need to get them early for them to have great value. So, and then also if you are roaming, which Ekko is decently good at, like he's actually pretty good at roaming, just because he's pushing so well, then the Relentless Hunter, of course, helps even more. Yeah, I guess in this game, do you always just, like, the defensive stuff, do you always take HP, or do you also switch it out for
I also
other stuff
switch it out.
sometimes?
But like the
Okay.
Sandra, I don't think she has a lot of kill pressure on me. 3,
Yeah.
4. So after that, it just skills better.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. And I think also, especially if it's mixed damage jungle mid, then taking HP is fine as well. Yeah, I think item building wise, whatever. Do you always build Lich Bane? Seems
Most
like it.
of the time, unless they have only one squishy. My playstyle is mostly based around going in and out. So the movement speed, I value that very much.
Yeah, that is completely fine. I think, especially, I'm also always saying, or I've been saying more recently, is just like pick one setup that you like and stick to it, and like learn the limits and stuff. Definitely has a lot of value. So yeah, just from the OPGG, I would say biggest thing is really farm and then dying less. Those are like the 2 obvious things to see. And then I guess something we already talked about a little bit in the Discord was just like, you know, playing those other champs. Although you honestly don't even have that many games, but still, like, these games, they definitely don't help your LP gains. So I don't know. I assume the Ezreal is when you get second role, probably, right? You probably queue ADC second role, so that's fine. Just like these mage picks and whatever, they just don't serve you. Like, yeah, it's not like you lose every game with them, but you know, like
it's
you
been
said
going better since the elo has gone up, I think. So that helps because it was like 20%. So
yeah, I mean, you can of course try to pick up other champs in your champ pool and whatever, but just for climbing, I think it's best to just stick to, let's say, 2 to 3 different champs maximum. Okay, I guess League of Graph's another thing we can look at. Oh, that's actually interesting. You have like very high damage dealt, but below average on kill participations.
Mid lane too, because it takes jungle and jungle has a higher.
How many? 15 jungle games. No, but it's fine. I mean, sure, we can just put mid lane only. Okay, so yeah, you can see, right? The thing, if you want to reach master, okay, like average master echoes are also bad, but you know, you want to be like above average to really climb there, you know, generally. So that's like the main thing that's very obvious to see here. But it's actually very good to see that you seem to be playing aggressive, because that's like the hardest thing to teach in a way. I think farming is really, especially in mid lane, is really just about being on the sideline in the right moments and playing some basic macro. Okay, so you're also not afraid to get kills early, which is good. I guess duels win rate can definitely be a little bit higher, although I have to say, like, for Ekko mid lane, the duels win rate is generally a little bit lower than for Ekko jungle, I would say, because in jungle it's much easier to pick your duels, of course. In mid lane, you might just be forced into duels more often. So I think you should still aim for around, let's say, 75% maybe. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the average deaths, I would say. So yeah, this is just like I don't even know how the average diamond echo is just like behind, but yeah, you can see, right? The minions is just like the very obvious graph where you're a little bit lacking. Then I guess the snowballing can also be better. Like the average master echo and whatever, they're also really bad at snowballing. If you're good at snowballing, you're just a couple of minutes ahead, actually, even of the 2 minutes ahead or something. So that's definitely, it's usually around about like just knowing your limits and knowing when you can actually punish. How long have you been playing Ekko for, by the way?
I think like 8 seasons.
Okay, so you should know your limits.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you have such high depths then, actually? Is it just this season, or no? It seems like... No. I mean, that's also kind of why maybe you have high damage, of course. because you just fight a lot?
I think I have about 6 every season.
Yeah. Okay, definitely. I mean, this year you're almost at 7.
Mm.
So I think usually I say the other way around is like start limit testing. I think for you it's time to just maybe stop limit testing a little bit more, and because I'm sure you know your limits to a pretty like solid extent at this point if you've been playing for 8 seasons.
Mhm.
So just like maybe sometimes I don't know. What do you think causes your deaths? I guess.
I think my deaths in games I win are usually all right because like I've won with 7, but most of them are about 4 deaths, which I think is all right.
It depends on the
So
context, but I think like you can
yeah,
win a lot of games without dying a single time, and that's
yeah, that's
obviously
true.
better. Like not every death is
Um,
horribly bad or anything like that, but of course if you're averaging like a lot of deaths, then
mhm.
there's something you can be doing better. But like specifically, I guess what specifically causes you to die? Is it like bad mechanics? Is it like bad decision making where you kind of know you shouldn't be doing certain things or this kind of stuff?
Think in games I lose, it's because I want to win. So I go for plays that are super risky,
So you're
but if they work
impatient.
out, we might actually be able to turn it around.
Okay.
And for games that I'm winning, it's usually, I think just poor decision making. Just thinking
Okay.
we can snowball further from this, but it's just too risky when it's better to play safe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I guess about the like losing. I've really also learned this more recently, or like I kind of knew it always, but you just really need to put in some effort, I guess, to really realize this. But being patient at Echo it gets rewarded so many games.
Mhm.
Like no joke, I've had so many games where the early game went very bad, and then you're just patient, you don't tilt or whatever, and you just wait for things to happen, and then you get 1 or 2 kills, and all of a sudden you feel strong.
Yeah.
That's kind of how Echo feels oftentimes. So if you really just play around that, then you might have won a bunch more of these games that you're losing.
Mhm.
Then also like 14 deaths, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's just like, and it's not even like a one-off thing. You have a bunch of games with like 10 deaths or something, and 10
Mhm.
deaths on Echo is not something that should happen regularly. Like it really shouldn't. And
Dying every 2-3 minutes.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then of course also with the being ahead and whatever. Yeah, like sometimes maybe you just I can imagine that maybe you sometimes just go for things that are just not worth if you really think about the gold gained versus lost. Like maybe you give a
Mhm.
shot on and whatever, you might have gotten a kill or two, but it's not even worth because you just lost out on like getting objectives or whatever because you died. But I guess that's all stuff we will see. This is definitely very good to see. You seem to know how to win games. Like tower turret damage is very important. So it's really something that does win games, of course.
Mhm.
Yeah, vision doesn't really matter. This is definitely something you can also improve on a little bit. The on my way ping, especially.
Mhm.
You might not think it's super important, but I've noticed that it is actually very important. And there's a
Yeah.
reason that higher elo players ping more. Like communicating
Yeah.
with your team makes a massive difference. It really does. It helps a lot because especially when you're, for example, joining fights. When you're
Mhm.
joining fights, people don't look at their minimap usually, and you just want to help your bot lane. Let's say that, and they're like fighting. You just need to ping, "I'm on my way," and then they can play around that. Like sometimes they might
Yeah.
run away for way too long or whatever because they don't know you're coming, and then or they might not wait for you. Or there's so many things you just need to communicate. So definitely, I mean,
think
the
the
other
get
pings you
back
seem to use.
yeah, the get back per minute, I think that one's bugged for me because I definitely ping it quite a bit.
Mm. I mean, yeah, I don't even think this one is super important. I think the most important is really this one.
Mhm.
Then, of course, this one as a laner, you seem to ping. I hope this is not like being toxic or
No, no, no.
something.
There's no toxicity. I just ping
Good.
SS a lot, so
Yeah, and this is also like
more for plays.
the assist me is definitely also red. It's basically just often instructing your jungler or something. Like
Mhm.
one thing I actually learned from a recent Veigar V2 coaching that I was looking is just like sometimes you just might want to ping for help if you want your jungler to look at your lane.
Yeah,
It's
I saw
definitely
that too. I
interesting.
saw the
Yeah.
same video. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never really thought about it in that way, but it's like just
Mhm.
sometimes giving them yeah, you know what, when the lane state is maybe in a way where in the next couple of minutes you might be gankable or something, you just
Mhm.
ping for help. So yeah. I mean these stats. This actually, I mean, this kind of seems like you do know how to snowball, although this is not just Echo only, of course. But
Mhm. And this is with normals and maybe even with arena. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So they're really not that
Mm.
impactful, I guess, these stats to look at. So yeah, I guess
I
you
wish
can
you
go
could
in
filter
game.
them on.
Yeah, I mean the patterns are not really. I mean they don't say too much. I usually just. I guess sometimes you can see something in these graphs about like game duration and stuff. It definitely seems like I don't know, minute 40 is cursed for you or something.
Yeah, like that's the
But
moment we get into late game and it's like, all right, I lose all my brain cells or something.
yeah, is it like performance pressure or something like that? Do you feel, or what is it?
I think it once you get to that point, almost everyone is full build,
Mm-hmm.
and the death timers are so long. If you make one mistake, you know it's over. So
So it
maybe
is kind
pressure,
of
but it's
yeah,
also just. I
because
think I also go in too quickly, because
mm,
especially when
yeah,
it's really a 50-50, and my tank or we don't have a tank, we don't have a front line, then it's really, really difficult for me to go around that because we keep getting pushed back. And then at some point, I'm like, okay, but if we keep getting pushed back, they're just going to destroy the turrets and finish the game. So then
mm.
oftentimes I go in the first, which gets me blown up. Like I take one or two people with me,
You know
and
what I
then I
hear
just
from
pray
that?
that team.
It seems like you're not really fighting from the sides, you know? As
Hmm.
Ekko, you should
Yeah, that's
basically
true,
always be
actually.
coming in from
Yeah.
the side. You should not be in the lane. I actually had a coaching session earlier where it was the exact same thing. With Ekko, you need to get into the habit, even as mid lane Ekko. In the late
Hmm.
game and whatever, you just need to be in the jungle and you just need to be placing W's and seeing if you can engage on them, you know? Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
walls where you can engage and well they engage over basically, and with a good W you can instantly win fights.
Mhm.
And then oftentimes also you need to just constantly be looking at your minimap in the late game and seeing if there's people that might be like you need to kind of predict where people might be going, and if there's squishy targets, you can just try to pick them off and stuff. But yeah, can you share your screen and queue up?
Yep.
Yeah.
See.
Also, another like I said this in Discord as well. I don't know if you read it. Like with the turning chat off, I think that's no joke.
Yeah, I think
Real
it
LP hack.
will help me as well. Yeah.
It's actually so good. Like, because it's not even about toxicity, you know.
Hmm.
It's genuinely not about toxicity. It's just about that the fact that any message in League of Legends chat influences you in a way, and it's usually negative, like basically negative, because you just kind of get influenced to not play the game you would play on your own, basically. Yeah, just queue up.
I hope I don't get filled to bottom.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe take jungle secondary so that at least then you could play
Yeah.
Ekko jungle, because I think ADC is like the only role where Ekko is genuinely not playable.
I've played Ekko in every single role, but it wasn't that great.
I mean, he's actually kind of okay playable in ADC, but it's just like it's not gonna be
Mm.
good for the coaching session here, of course.
Yeah. I think
Um,
I played like Ekko ADC 2 or 3 times, support like 4 or 5 times. I think I've
I think
won all the games, but that's just because the enemy didn't know how to play against an Ekko.
exactly that's why ADC Ekko is actually kind of okay, because ADCs just have brain damage as soon as they don't play against ADC
Yeah.
champions.
Versus
But
mages as well. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
that's Swain. What do I do? I
no
can't
joke.
auto him.
That's exactly how it
Yeah.
is. No, and then also I don't know. Ekko support is actually underrated, I would say. I think he has some value. It's kind of you can just kind of be a Pike but APC, you
Yeah.
know. Of course, Pike, yeah, he provides the like passive where he shares gold and stuff, but still,
Hmm.
it's not like you can also just roam around the map and really make a lot of stuff happen. And then the W is like people
Huge.
underrate the
Yeah.
W. It does so
It's so
much.
long. It used to be a short. Well, it was a long stun, then it became a shorter stun. But now
Oh,
that it's
really?
long again, it's really good. Yeah, I think it
I don't
was
even remember.
1.75 at
That
some
like yeah,
point.
true, true, true. I actually remember right. Yeah, they buffed it at
Yeah.
some point when they buffed Echo, or when they moved to more towards
Mhm.
jungle again. I think
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, but it's not even about that. You know, big thing about Echo W is the fact that wherever the W is placed, people can't stand. You know, so they can't
Mhm.
attack. That's how you need to think about the W
A
as
really
well.
good zoning tool.
Yeah, it's just like
Sometimes you don't
whenever
even
you
need the
place it,
stun.
the ADC or whatever, either they attack and they get stunned, or they won't attack for a couple of seconds in the late game. That's huge, you know. Like auto attack
Mhm.
does so much damage, so you don't even need to. And that's why I'm also saying like you need to use it in every single fight, you know, because
Mhm.
some people just don't use it in every fight, and that's a big mistake. There's a reason it has such a long cooldown. It's because the spell is really good. Okay. I guess, what do you usually ban?
I usually ban Kassadin.
Okay.
I used to ban Akshan, but he's not really played that frequently anymore.
Is Kassadin though? I
I
think
think his
Kassadin
pick
is
rate is
not
quite
played.
high.
Really, I've never seen Kassadin recently.
I think it's lower elo champ, I think. I think he
Maybe.
gets worse the higher elo you get.
Ooh, Kassadin actually has insane win rate in Emerald right now. Yeah, he actually has a
Yeah, I
pretty
know.
solid win rate. I never see him though. Yeah, I think he's an okay ban. Like Kassadin is
Other
definitely in
option would be
the.
Akshan.
No, I wouldn't ban Akshan. Not on your elo anyways. I think just ban Kassadin if you want to ban him. He's
I mean,
definitely a
maybe
fine ban.
Tristana.
I think
Barely
Akali
Tristana too.
Akali is by far the worst
Kali is
matchup.
good. Yeah.
Then LB is also unplayable, but against her you can at least kind of scale sometimes.
And there are no good LPs in this elo, so
Maybe, but it's just like she really doesn't need to be good. It's just you just can't trade back basically because of how the W works. It's just very cancer.
I think if you time your E together with her W,
But
then
that's
you
like
can
in
win the
her
trade.
control. It's kind of in her control
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
You know, if she
That's true,
really.
that's true.
So it's not. Yeah, just take it. Just take it. If he wants to give you later a pick. What? Okay. Yeah. No, I think LB and Akali, like Akali is just too tanky. She has incredibly high base MR. She's basically like a fighter, even though she's supposed to be an assassin. And then she will
Yeah, I
assassinate
agree
you.
actually.
So now
She
is
has
it?
so many more stank stats and sustain.
Yeah,
It's
and
crazy.
she even starts Doran's shield. She gets like green
Thorn
like
shield, second wind. I
yeah,
hate it.
it's
I
impossible.
hate
You legit
it.
can never kill her, and she kind of even outscales you in a way. Like
Mhm.
you need to be literally 1.5 to 2 items ahead of her to ever be able to kill her. So
Yeah.
that's why she's my ban. But oh, okay, Orianna matchup's interesting. This might be a game where you can go Hail of Blades.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't purely decide it on this pick. And also, yeah, take the Relentless Hunter. Yeah, I think if you go for this Hail of Blades setup and you're looking to get kills, then also take Scourge. But I would even say if this is a game where you feel like you can side lane, like if they don't pick a super strong top laner, it might be better to just take DP here and just chill a little bit, you know? Another thing I've realized while playing Ekko Mid recently is just like you don't need to get those kills early. Like you really don't need to. It's nice, but you don't need to. You scale so well into the mid game, you can often just chill and then play with your jungle and stuff, and you'll be fed enough, you know.
Especially since the respawn timers got reduced. You don't
Yeah,
really get that much of an
exactly. I
advantage.
think this is actually a game where you should like let's see what the last pick is, but I think you should actually take TP here and probably even electrocute and Gathering Storm. Just scale it up. Like no bad Orianna might die to you, but I think a good Orianna is also is gonna have a
Yeah,
very easy time not dying to you. So
I think against Ori I have like a 50-50 win rate because either I get like 5k ahead or I just lose.
yeah, I think you should just chill until basically you have Rocket Belt, unless she makes big mistakes, of course, then punish them. But yeah, this is definitely a very playable game though for you. You just need to get your items. They barely have any CC that should be hitting you, and then they're also all kind of squishy. Yeah, I think definitely the Hail of Blades is not that great here. Because, especially if the Orianna has Faith Rush, for example, she's just gonna run out of your range. Caitlyn is always gonna E away. Pyke is always gonna E away. You know, you'd rather just have the Electrocute so you can proc it quickly. Yeah, see, she has Faith Rush.
Yep. Makes sense.
Okay. So I'm mostly gonna be letting you play your own game and just type some stuff down. But I'm, of course, always gonna say some stuff every now and then. You start Doran's, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to go corrupting every now and then, but since the
I think corrupting's
Dorns
shit.
buffs, yeah, since the Dorns buffs, it's trolling if you don't go Dorns.
Yeah, either Dorans or Dark Seal, actually. Like, this really good
Yeah,
Echo, he
Dark
went Dark
Seal.
Seal. I also tried it a bunch of times. Actually, I think in this matchup is good. You should go Dark Seal.
Yeah?
Mostly because of the refillable. It really helps, you know, in these lanes where you might get poked a lot, even after the first base. It's definitely nice to still have those potions, you know.
I think I really value the mana regen as well.
Yeah, you can buy it on your first base, you know.
Mhm.
It's just like if you start Dorans, you're probably not gonna buy refillable most games.
That's true, because the value is just lower.
Yeah. And then if you maybe sometimes you might be able to play with your jungler or anything or something and even get a kill early. And then having the
Yeah,
extra
that,
Dark Seal Sex is of
yeah.
course a nice bonus. You just need to be a bit more aware to like not last hit with your Q too much and stuff, because
Mhm.
then you're gonna run out of mana. But with TP, it's also kind of chill most of the time, anyways.
You get a free back, so it helps.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Ignite, Dorns would be better, but you also get more stacks on Dark Seal.
Yeah, it's kind of I don't know. Maybe yeah. I think with Ignite you want Dorans just for the higher kill pressure, and then if you get a kill, you might be able to get more anyways.
That's not great. I'm definitely taking too much free poke here.
Yeah, maybe you can do something though. What? Okay, she just didn't want to flash. Good job, I
Yeah.
guess.
I don't think she was expecting that damage.
It's definitely nice.
Dorns or Boots here? I think Boots.
Yeah, I think it's too long to wait.
Also because she has Boots, so if I don't, kind of feels like she outruns me easily.
I don't know. I think in this kind of matchup, it's not really like that, in my opinion. You know, you'll usually just engage on her, proc your passive, and then run away. You don't really run at the same speed, anyways. She's like never queuing you when you do that. That's weird.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take like 60, 70 poke here, and then she just doesn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give you too much active advice, but I think you can definitely play this lane a bit more aggressively. This guy's just not doing much.
Yeah.
Could go, and also, and I guess we'll talk about that after. Exactly, just do these trades. Actually, just kill her here.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
And
not
this
very
guy has
helpful.
0 resistance. Good job.
No, the siege. That's a shame. Like this, do I help the jungler here? I think I should push in my lane, right?
Yeah, definitely. Especially because the Orianna has used TP already, so she will lose a lot of this. Although, I mean, the dev timers are really short, but... Yeah, now you can just move there if you need to, basically. Like, if you see the enemies contesting.
Chewing the wave was not helpful, but now I have to.
That's fine. I mean, do you feel like you're in a good position right now?
No. I mean,
What do you think
yes,
went
I'm
wrong? No,
not
you're...
right here.
Yeah, what do you think went wrong? Well, shit. You definitely should have recalled. Like, there was a very obvious timing to recall.
Yeah.
At 6:45, I wrote it down. You will see in the replay. Because you just had way too low mana to stay. I think just by AP here. No, you need the AP to clear waves. Yeah, just by this. No, just by the Hextech thing. Yeah, it's enough. And it will give you a little bit higher kill pressure.
I think my mana management is poor. I think that's one of my biggest issues.
No, I think it's completely fine. You really just had to recall to reset your mana.
I wanted to deny the siege and instead I miss it.
Okay, good ult. She has no flash.
That's very unfortunate.
Yeah, unlucky.
Loses the wave though, so it's alright.
Yeah, it's kind of worth. I mean, you flashed as well, but I don't know if she could have played that differently. Maybe we'll see in the replay. She just gets kind of tanky with her E, of course.
Yeah, I think maybe just go for the trade, burn my ults, and then save my flash to kill her later.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a little bit of a mistake was losing the cannon. Of course, it could have just lasted then probably still, because her cannon was healthier, so she would have kind of walked up for it anyways.
Nice.
Yeah, I think actually at this point you should just mostly be looking to hard shove and play with your team. Because you can definitely impact the side waves, you just... And like killing the Orianna again and again, like, I don't know, it's just... Sure, if you can, it's fine, but you're always gonna
Then
be
I die
vulnerable to
because of
that.
this.
Yeah,
Um,
it's kind of the thing. And if you just if you just push in the waves, you'll also get your other stacks and whatever on the side wave. I think it definitely has more impact at this point. You should have already done that before the last step, in my opinion.
That's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still not out of the game, though. That it's just a very playable game. I think sell the refillable here to get your item. Definitely not good to die, of course, so many times in a row, but just understand that in this game it's definitely easy for you to get kills team comp wise, so just don't keep inting, I guess. You'll be fine.
I think it's unfortunate we have so much AP on the team.
Not that much.
too
It's really
but
only. It's actually only
yeah.
Brand. I think it's fine.
Yeah. But it's usually enough for them to start building MR now.
Not yet. Not yet. Definitely look at your team.
Get stunned. Boom.
I mean, if you get the Caitlyn shutdown, I think you're doing completely fine as a team. And if you personally get it, then you're definitely doing well. I don't think you can get it on your own right now, though, honestly. I think she actually beats you, unless you stun her.
Easily.
And even then, it's kind of risky. Can maybe kill this guy, though. Probably not. Okay, he's just not gonna use E. Sure.
He was
take
stuck in his
those.
Q animation. Stupid of him. Waste of health.
Oh my god, that was greedy as
Yeah.
fuck. Careful,
That was
she
super
has
late.
if she has mana for ult, she will kill you
Yeah.
with it. So
He needs 100 mana, so I'm okay. But
let's try. If you hadn't taken that trade before, where she made
yeah,
you to 60 HP or whatever, I think you could kill her. And like the big mistake here was just that you traded without Rocket Belt being up. You just can't fight Caitlyn without Rocket Belt, basically. That's also what I wrote down.
my ult was super late too. I was waiting
Yeah,
for
that
the
was
spider
scary. I
to
mean,
be
if
in the
she
air.
would
If
have
she
crit you, you
crit
would have
there,
died.
yeah.
Definitely look at your friend. He's getting invaded.
Yep. That's quite busy there. Not sure why the Caitlyn is still bot.
Yeah. Just see if she maybe disrespects you at some point. You might be able to kill her. Then you're in a really good spot.
I think she beat.
Seems like it.
Oh.
No.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, you need to learn though. But why do you keep going for that? It's just not gonna work. It's not gonna work the next time either.
I think if I went on it hard.
No,
I
if
could
she
have
has brain
done that.
damage, then it will work. But like, it really won't
Yeah,
work.
that's fair.
It won't work if she sees you placing a W like that. It will never work. And especially if she goes for Gale Force or whatever, you really shouldn't try. The only way you're ever okay, she went for IE, I guess, but yeah, the only way you can ever engage on her is just from the side, basically. Damn. That was a good bait by her, I have to say.
I need to turn my night vision, night thing on, off. There you go.
What?
Yeah, once the sun goes down, my computer says, all right,
Oh, yeah.
time for night
I
lamp.
also used to have that, but it annoyed me, so I just uninstalled it. I don't know.
I think it's my computer automatically doing it.
Oh,
I can
okay.
turn it off, but too frequently I don't turn it on when I should, so. I'm definitely having a very bad game. My CS is terrible.
But everyone's CS is kind of terrible, so it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, not in comparison with my team. My team's bad and mine is terrible. Like, should take the.
I mean, you also have quite a lot of devs. That obviously also goes hand in hand, your CSing and your devs, because if you're dead, you just can't CS, of course. Yeah, definitely what you said before is like with the you're definitely just a bit too impatient. Not even just in this fight, but like in general. Also with like these engages on the Caitlyn, whatever. Just and not impatient. Also just like of course you're just making mistakes, and they're like fueled by impatience, I guess. You should just be either accepting that sometimes people won't make mistakes and you can't punish them, or you just need to wait for them, and sometimes they will happen, you know? Like this Caitlyn, whatever, she wasn't really making any mistakes, but you still tried to punish her, and then instead you just got punished by eating like an auto attack that put you to 60% HP. Like what she's making here, this could turn into a mistake for her, of course, if she keeps overextending.
I think Pike is in the area.
Dead. Like, she's dead.
Not if I terribly misplay it. Holy shit. That's probably the worst combo I've done in my life. Remarkable. Yeah. Oh my god.
It wasn't even so much the combo, you just didn't use your W, to be honest. I mean, the combo, of course, was also a little bit missed, but that happens, you know? I think it's way worse that you didn't use your W just to, like, slow her or whatever.
Yeah. Man, I'm just so sad. This is like one of the worst games I've had in a long time. Because I'm just micro, macro, everything. It's just bad.
I mean, those are the best games to learn from, so... No. Done.
Yeah.
I mean, it was good actually overall for your team. At this point, just like you're not like egoing here or anything, but like completely drop your ego and understand that you're not gonna be the carry here. So just like
Yeah,
enable
yeah.
your team like you did here, and you can still win the game, you know. And actually, you have all the drakes, so I think it's not even looking too bad here. Just need to, yeah, not like get
Just need to
discouraged
get
or
my shit
whatever.
together.
And if you have the Lich Ban, you'll still be able to almost kill the Caitlyn, you know, with a combo. So then maybe someone can finish her off.
That's a shame.
You definitely don't overcommit here.
Oh, damn it.
Again, kind of impatient there, also especially the
Yeah.
flash.
I thought I could kill the Camille there.
You could have,
But I
but you
didn't have
were.
electrocute.
I think you could have killed her, but you. I don't know what exactly you did with the flash, but I think it positioned you in a way where you were just too close to them. You could have, like, with another Q, would have killed her, and I think you had it up in the end when you died. You just had to stay out of range from the Lee Sin.
The problem was I got EE'd, I think, by Camille. Or did I get instilled?
We'll see in the replay. I also don't know exactly what happened.
Yeah, I got E'd. Yeah. A shame. Let's play number 74.
Yeah, you know what I wrote down like 15 seconds ago when I saw you were gonna fight the Lee Sin? Like, don't ego. You don't
Yeah.
win that, you know? Like, you just don't. Unless you're really ahead in these situations, just if he's same HP, then just not gonna win.
think as long as he doesn't have ult, I win, but his ult is like a 30-second cooldown.
You should just assume, yeah, you should just assume that it's
Mhm.
up. Even though, I mean, you did just fight, but still, like, even without ult up, you can still just win, you know? Like, with ult, you just insta-lose like you did here, but even without it, he just has a bunch of healing in his kit and stuff. He's not as low as he might look, you know, with the core drinker and stuff. And then he even has mercs as well, so...
Yeah. And now they're going for Baron.
Let's try. Can you restart the stream? It's kind of lagging.
Oh, hold on. I just
Yeah, it's better.
completely misplayed that. I let my entire team die, and then I went for like a very bad attempt to kill the Ekkoliner.
I mean, at this point, your team, they just, like, don't be too hard on yourself here. They also decided, like, it's definitely a rough situation overall. But your team also, of course, decided that it's not like you could have changed much about that. But I think you could have actually killed the Pike. We'll see in the replay,
Yeah.
though. Like, just let him hook you next time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you had stacks applied, so when he hooks you like that and you still have rocket belt up, you can just kill him.
Still think it's winnable. I think it would be a shame to FF this.
Yeah,
It's rough, but I don't think it's a 100% loss.
Yeah, it's not, unless your team doesn't want to try.
Ooh, I think that's over though. Yeah.
Yeah, nice try. I mean, yeah, as I said, I think it's definitely a good game to learn from. Overall, things I wrote down is like in the early to mid game, especially, like you really didn't look at the side lanes enough, in my opinion. Like you really didn't look if you can ever roam there, basically. Like you did at some point, you started looking at side lanes, but in the early game, you really didn't ever do it, even though lanes on the minimap they looked like they might be gankable, you know. Then I guess another general thing is just like you need to have more patience in the way you play your fights, and like a big thing that will help you with that is just throwing out Qs, you know, in fights instead of Eing. There's so many situations where you just E on the enemies right away, especially into melee champs, you know. You just want to throw out Qs, apply your stacks, and then go on them and proccing your passive and stuff. Yeah, wait, let me share my screen. You had actually most damage in your team, so again, though, if you of course die a lot, then you're just fighting a lot and whatever, and it's not like the same kind of damage you would have with less steps. Okay.
I think it's just unfortunate because a lot of things I do well 99 out of 100 times I messed up this game. So that's not super
Maybe.
helpful.
But then why are you still losing a lot of the other games?
Because there's stuff I do wrong most of the time. but that
What
kind of
kind
got
of
out
what kind of
shoot.
stuff did you not do, or like what kind of stuff do you usually do wrong that you didn't? Nah, like okay. I mean, what kind of stuff did you do wrong in this game that you normally wouldn't do wrong? Let's say.
I usually look a lot more at my map. Like
Okay.
my map awareness this game was nowhere.
Okay.
Um, like it's not great, but it's definitely better than the. I don't think I looked at my side lanes twice in the first 15 minutes. Like
Yeah.
it's just awful, like
Yeah.
terrible.
I mean, not
Um,
whatever. Like, chill out. It's not that deep. It's fine. You definitely could have done maybe more, and then as I said, also with the level 7, I think you could have just, or you should have just
mhm,
started roaming more and whatever, because I don't know. After a certain point, the Oriana just kind of knew you were able to kill her, so she started fighting back. But we'll see in the early game, especially here.
yeah, I just played super safe because I wanted to
Yeah,
like chill.
exactly. You played a little bit too safe. Like it's fine. You don't need to play
Mm,
super aggressive, but especially at level 2, I think you should always go for a trade in these lanes. And then here, first thing I wrote down, like small thing, but like throw a Q here, Like she's in Q
mm,
range. They always
yeah.
throw these kind of Qs, and like even sometimes last hit the minion and Q at the same time.
Mm.
No reason to play this passive. And
It
in
was just
general, I
great. I
would
would
say,
be missed there as well because then it
uh,
would end up in a slow push.
yeah, just make sure you don't hit the minions, with the
Mm,
Q. But like with Ekko, you're usually happy to take these even HP trades. You're
mm,
happy against mages. Against mages, you're happy to do that because they're much more gankable than you. And like now you will see in a second she steps. Like now you need to go for a trade. Like this is in trade range. Just EQ and especially because her ball is so far away. She can't even trade back.
mm,
And then, even now, you eat and then you didn't E on her. You need to after she uses everything. Well, like her Q, which is basically everything at this point. Her
mm,
her W won't hit because it's here. That's your trading window. That's what you need to use. And you didn't use it here in the very early lane. Like you started trading at some point, but like in the very early lane, you just let her get away with everything. And of course, every lane is a little bit different, but I think generally into mages, this is how you always should be playing. And I sometimes also don't do this because I get scared for some reason, but when you look at good Ekko players, they will trade heavily in these lanes, and they will
mm,
also trade their own HP for it. It doesn't have to be a trade where you're completely positive. Because also imagine you're the jungler. I mean, you're not really a jungle player, but as a jungler, it's so refreshing to see lanes actually like play the game, and be low HP. Because as your jungler, you don't really care how low your own laner is. You just want to see
mm,
if the enemy is low enough to gank. And like Ekko is also a champ that's somewhat comfortable on low HP because of his W. Like in the early game, of course, not as much, but still, like you can be happy with even like this is the first time where you really started trading, and it was pretty positive. Not as positive anymore, of course, but
yeah, because I take
still.
a free
Yeah,
poke.
yeah. Here you take a bunch of free poke, but you
And
still kill her in the end because your jungler is around and you chunk her a
mm,
little bit low. That's basically exactly what needs to happen in these kind of lanes. And here again, like if she does this, just engage on her. At least trade back because
just
now you're
if you
just
want
not
to kill
fighting
her,
back.
yeah.
Here you were also a little bit like getting mad at yourself, whatever, because of that, because you noticed that it's a mistake yourself. But yeah, I mean, this death honestly shouldn't have happened.
Mm,
If you're being real.
yeah.
So it was definitely like this will happen, of course, sometimes, but it's not something you can bank on. Of course, your enemy's making these big mistakes. She just had flash up. She didn't use it for no reason. And then a nice like more high elo thing, let's say, that I like to do, and like most people do, is just place a ward here, when leaving lane, like this, just so you know where she's moving. And you had a ward up here.
Mm-hmm. I think, and this is an excuse, but I think it didn't matter. Um,
Probably not.
I played with Dark Seal,
Hmm.
uh, so I played a lot safer because I wanted to refrain from wasting my mana. Because even with Dorns, I run out of mana very quickly.
But I mean, let's look at the lane really quickly again. You're
Yeah,
not
no,
really ever low mana here.
what's it called?
You're overly cautious, I
Compensated.
guess.
I overcompensated for like
Yeah.
a bit less mana. I overcompensated from like playing super aggressive to not aggressive at all.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's definitely something you need to adapt to. Of course, you can see now you don't have a lot of mana, but you don't need any more. Not really, you know.
Should just be here.
So, and at this point, you could have also bought the Dorans, I think. Like, how much gold did you have here? I don't know if it would have been better to go for Amptome and Doran's Ring and then Boots. So, I don't know. Maybe that would have been better than the Blasting Wand. It would have definitely helped you to just, like, win this lane harder, I guess. But I think this buy is also completely fine, to be honest. Oops. I think the argument you made with the boots and whatever, I don't know, it's not really, as I said already in game, I don't think you need to be matching boots, you know, not really. Because it the only thing you're really looking for with her is just if she's ever stepping into your range where you can EQ her, and then it doesn't really matter if she has boots. You're gonna be on top of her, you're gonna proc passive, and if you do, then you'll have way more movement speed anyways, and if you don't, then the boots won't really matter in most situations. Because, I mean, your Q slows.
Yeah.
So. And like in these situations already, I think you can be looking to trade, you know? Just see if she's ever walking up, especially because you do have quite an advantage here, you know? Sure, the mini wave's a little bit bigger, but you will still out-trade her. So just like, don't let her get away with all of this. And here, in these situations, you definitely need to be looking bot. Yeah, you definitely didn't do that in game. Like, if you see people dying or whatever, or even if you see this, you know, like, just look there and get some info, get some amount of info. Also get the info, for example, how healthy does the Lee Sin leave this fight, you know? Do you need to be worried about him ganking you? So just get into the habit of doing that. Just whenever someone dies on the map, just look there. As a jungler, it's even more important, but as a mid laner, like if you look at Faker or whatever, how he plays, you know, like have you ever seen him play?
Yeah, perma F1, F2,
Exactly.
F3, F4,
He just
F5.
perma looks at everything that's happening on the map, so as a mid laner, it's just equally as valuable, basically. As a jungler, you just need to be a little bit quicker with your reaction most of the time. And here, yeah, the way you played this was definitely good, so not really giving her any chance to escape. Here. Did she still have flash, by the way? I mean, it looks on cooldown, but yours also, so I'm not sure. Yeah, she still had it. I don't know. This guy honestly shouldn't have died either of those times, but yeah. Sometimes people give you those gifts, I guess. And now you need to recall. Like, or no, never mind. After this, you need to recall after the plating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
because now you have like, or after the wave, even after the wave, you still can get this wave in with this mana, but then, yeah, exactly. At 6:45, I wrote down just recall. So here you were saying to yourself, kind of, you know, I kind of shouldn't have pushed this wave or whatever, but it's completely fine as long as you just make sure you recall afterwards.
Yeah.
But staying now, like this is actually where you lost the lane. This exact, and also just like taking so much damage here. I don't even know what you stayed for here, honestly. I really don't know.
I saw a lot of pings.
You saw the Lee Sin here, but like, why would you stay for him? He's full HP. He has like info that you're invading him. You're low here, and you also don't have mana. Like, you'll have mana to E and then ult out. Yeah, you really don't have mana to do anything, and you have gold to spend as well. You know, you can buy 2 Amptoms, and you're happy with that, because you'll just catch the whole wave. Like, you literally lose nothing now. This was like the biggest mistake the whole game, by the way.
Yeah.
No joke. Because we'll see. Like now you're just getting bullied in this lane, and now you even waste some more mana, which basically gave you nothing. So it's even more rough. And usually, you know, like usually you just want to recall on a cannon wave because it takes a little bit longer to shove in. Well, it was even the perfect wave to recall on.
Yeah. I set it up perfectly just to mess it up. That's great.
Yeah, like you were in such a good position here. You know, like you're almost as fat as the Caitlyn. And if you just stay at this point, you can easily just shut her down, you know? But now you just, like, look, this is awful. She's just basically full resources. You're never going to be able to punish her. And you just want to get out of this lane. And now you can feel how this champ can really harass you. Like, if this guy wasn't so bad, you probably would have felt it earlier as well, but... Yeah, like...
Yeah, no, I knew I was under kill threat there. But I thought I was alright. I
wouldn't have expected her to do this. Honestly,
no,
I mean, if you had better reactions, you of course could have flashed out now, still, and then it would have been okay. But this is not the mistake you need to focus on, really. Like, of course, the mistake is just not recalling.
Everything before.
Yeah, this would have been a completely fine game. You probably, like, at this point, you can just start shoving the waves in, of course, and then you just look to roam bot the whole time. And then I wrote down press tab more. I think you do press tab more than some people, but you can still do it more. And sometimes it feels like you also just press tab, but you don't really do anything with the info you get. Like here, the info you have is this guy is an ADC that has a big fucking shutdown, so you need to focus on killing him. And that's why at this point you should already be making the decision to just perma shove, you know? Perma shove and perma put pressure on this guy, and at some point you will overextend, you know, and you will kill him 100%. Your bot lane is there at least. And then the game's looking completely fine, you know? Especially with the scaling difference in jungle, you know, they have Lee Sin, you have Brand. So as long as you're not falling too far behind in the early game, then you're fine. And this trade was just bad, you know, mostly because you lost the cannon instantly. So here just patience, you know. This is the first time where we could really see that impatience is a bit of a problem for you. Because this guy would have kept walking up. He wants this cannon, you know. And this trade wasn't even good. Like, I definitely respect for you, like, ulting back in here, but now you're overcommit. Just be happy with the small win here, you know? It's not even that small of a win. She can't stay in lane, basically. You know? She's a low HP Orianna at this point after you. Like, this was good. This was actually good, the fact that you went for it.
And then from here,
it shows that like, Ekko is not even really that much of a problem. It's just, like, your Ekko gameplay is completely fine. Of course, there's still things that could be better, but it's definitely good. I would even say you could definitely get master with this kind of mechanical gameplay. It's just like these decisions to like follow her here and whatever. How happy are you just like her being on this HP? You just wait for your abilities to come up again and then you kill her. You know?
My W. Yeah.
Or this guy has to invest like a lot of resources to keep you off killing her here. And now you just kinda, you know. Yeah, I mean, you also had to flash, which of course isn't that great. And then, I mean, yes, she lost the wave, but the Pyke got it, so it's not even that big of a win, you know? It's still a little bit of a win, but for you personally, but it's not like the end of the world for her. Look, it's only 200 gold difference anyways at this point, because that all happened because of this time you didn't recall. Let's see how the gold was before that. So you were 600 gold here, and then here it just evened out to only 200 gold.
Yeah.
I mean, she also killed you, but still. So yeah, all of that definitely... It's just like, you need to look at the first big mistake oftentimes, you know? Especially with Ekko Mid in my experience. Like, Ekko Mid is such a unforgiving pick if you play the early game bad or you make mistakes. And that's also why Ekko Jungle is, of course, quite a bit easier, because there you just won't get punished nearly as hard.
I think the things I usually do better are I play hyper aggressive usually, and I've just basically snoozed this entire lane.
Which is okay, I think, you know? Like, you were in a good spot even though you snoozed.
Yeah, it ended up well, but...
I mean, okay, yeah, as I said, of course, the Orianna also just really shouldn't have died, if we're being honest. But even if she doesn't die in these situations, she would still be forced out of lane, you know? And like, let's say maybe she does flash and then she's still on 1 HP and then you might be able to kill her on the next rotation or something, you know? You never know. So, like, all of this, I think playing... Of course, yeah, as I pointed out some things where you could have played more aggressive, but I don't think this is the stuff you need to focus on. It's really just like these massive things with like recalls where you really need to recall and then like sometimes overcommitting or being impatient or this kind of stuff. That's like the stuff that really loses your games and that makes you die a lot, especially. Yeah, and then here also I wrote down, right, like, just start shoving at this point. Don't, like, yeah, you can trade if you want, but like really the more important stuff is to shove this in and then get this shutdown, you know? This guy's still on a shutdown and your team is even kind of looking to play here. Yeah, and then even, I think in-game I already told you, right? So like, you should be shoving and then instead you fought and basically instantly got punished for it because Lee Sin is around. Yeah, and honestly, like, it's kind of a... In this elo, it might still work, but at some point you will notice, like, it's kind of a choice for the Orianna to even die, you know? Like, she really does not need to walk into your range the way she does the whole time. So, at some point you'll just notice that you will have to shove in those waves, and after Rocket Belt is where people often just really can't play around the range, even in high elo. But at this point, like, most decent players will just respect you, and they won't even give you those trades. Yeah, and then of course you're just a bit of like bad awareness, I guess, but this is still even okay, I would say. But of course, like TPing into a Caitlyn, you know that she
It's
can place
just a
those traps,
waste of
right?
HP.
Yeah. And there's no way for you to TP on either, so
Yeah,
I don't know if it's not just better to like let this wave die, you know, and walk there. It's probably
yeah.
better. They will also
I wanted to
recall and
save
you
the
can just
plates.
shove in the next wave. Yeah, but you didn't
The
even
plates
save
is
them.
not worth 125 gold. Is not worth my life.
Yeah, it's not. And then also, of course, you even died here in the end, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Also, like, smaller thing, and one that you could have used a bunch of times this game is just throw your Q before you ult back in these situations.
Mm.
For multiple reasons, of course. Like, first of all, applying passive stacks, but also just, like, slowing them so you maybe can hit your ult better. See, like, now you could have thrown back your Q,
Yeah,
and I think he even has one stack, right? Yeah. He has one stack, so maybe if you proc your passive and actually hit him, then you might have
I can
one-shot him here. Yeah. I
I
mean,
think
he did a good sidestep.
the thing I was afraid of was his me getting stuck in Q animation, so I can't R.
It's not really a
I
thing,
don't know
though.
if you've had that, but sometimes, especially with Rocket Belt, it's very frustrating if you're stuck in that animation and can't R.
I've
But
never had that
I'm
happen.
not sure if you can have that with. You've not had that happen with Rocket Belt?
I don't think so, no.
I
Like,
think
not noticeably.
like,
Maybe
you can
I
ER, but you cannot Rocket Belt R, I think.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's probably a very short time window though where you can't, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know. I've never had that like not noticeably happen to me, to be honest. But I think with Q you can just, like you could have definitely thrown it out here and probably. Actually, I don't know. Maybe the Caitlyn would have gotten another auto attack off them, but I mean it doesn't really matter because you died no matter what. So
Yeah.
I think just like going on them here is just ego, right?
Yeah.
Just like don't just accept that you took a little bit too much damage, but it's definitely better than dying, you know. And then also, not even just that, like honestly, nothing is ever gonna happen here if they don't want something. Like if they don't make massive mistakes, you're never gonna kill them. They also have some thumbs up and everything, you know. So. And you're just not fed or anything like that anyway. So at this point, the game really started to go out of control for you, of course. And of course, like dying back to back to back like this, of course, it also hurts your mental a bit. So it's definitely.
The thing that hurt my mental more was me just making misplays like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was saying, right? Of course, like this hurts your mental. Just the fact that you feel like you're stupid because you died a bunch of times in a row like that. You know, and I know this feeling very well. Like I know this very well, and I know that this kind of stuff can just like lose your games on your own, basically. But if you can fix that, then I think Master
is 100% winnable if I just
100% is still fine, even though you die. And I told this to you in game, right? Like, yeah, you made some mistakes, no, but if you stay calm, you might still win this game because the enemies are really like they don't have very much CC, and they're also all decently squishy, so. Getting kills in this game is very possible, and you don't need to be super fat for it. And your team was doing pretty well here. Like the brand was doing, he was actually very strong. Really just the Caitlyn. And then here, this is the first time where I wrote it down. Like place W. Like, here you just don't use your W, and there's a bunch of times where you don't do it later either. But like this guy, I think you might have died if you just place W somewhere here. See, like he lets you do so much. Just imagine you place your W before now.
Tower. Yeah,
and like you don't get any value from that now. So this is actually, I mean, I said this to you before the game even, right? Where I'm saying use your W in every fight, and this is not the only time in this game where you didn't use that. So that's definitely another, like that's what I would say the biggest mechanical thing for you to improve on. Just like, and that's like a very easy thing, by the way. Like literally just press W.
W.
Not even spam, like, but just make sure to use it and use it mindfully, of course. Like put it in good positions if you can, but like just make sure you use it. And then here, I think like it's not a big loss to put the W here, but you're also not gonna go in there if you're not trolling. So just go mid right away, basically. But I mean, you basically did. So not like a mistake I wrote down. Let's see. Here, just shove, that's fine. And then here, you definitely need to walk your team much faster. Like, we saw them. We saw them starting to fight a couple of seconds ago, and you still attack the tower. See, like, now is where you need to move there.
Yeah.
Imagine you just move in now. Like, let's see how many seconds it takes. You're 35, and you should already be starting to move.
Seconds.
So like now you would be in this brush here and could be placing a nice W or whatever.
5. Yeah.
So like you're just 10 seconds too late here basically.
Mhm.
And this W also is a
That's
bad
bad,
prediction.
'cause she's never gonna stay there unless Thresh
Exactly.
lands a hook, but then she's dead already.
Exactly. So like this, you just need to know like the Lee Sin died, of course, so she's obviously gonna be running away. So just place it deeper, and you're gonna stun her.
Mhm.
What even happened here? Did you still get her?
I think we
This
did.
was a little bit
Yeah.
awkward, I think.
But it just became a
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, you missed Q
expecting the
happens,
flash over.
but here I wrote down there was like a small window where you could have ulted the pike, and you should be taking those. You know, like
Mhm.
if you have good awareness, you know, of course. Like I mean, you don't even need great awareness. You know what pike does. You know he can dash. Like always take this.
Yeah.
Just abuse the fact that he's still gonna be stunned here for a
Mhm.
quick second, and then just like ult, so you can hit it. Like don't be greedy with your ults in these situations. And then maybe you could have even followed up to kill the Caitlyn here. Honestly, it's a 4v1. But this
I think
guy actually got
honestly, I
it done
lost
so
track
much.
of my R there. I think that's because
Yeah,
usually I do that, but I just lost track of my R.
yeah. I mean, you showed kind of that you definitely do these aggressive ults. So yeah. Yeah, this one, like, see, he actually got done so much, especially because you didn't kill him. Like, he stunned all of you, got you kind of low.
Made everyone low and got everyone ready for like a random Caitlyn auto.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened here.
Yeah.
And then here he still kills. Yeah, just like another butterfly effect, honestly, where if you could have killed, none of this would have happened. And now I think I told you, like, look at this big shot, don't try to get it or whatever. But I also told you in the same sentence, don't try to do it alone. I think you just won't be able to. You actually got this free kill though. Like he should never have died. Like I don't know. I don't know why you decided to Q instead of just eating away. It's just ego from him, honestly. But yeah, it's definitely good. Like that's the thing you do well, and that's why I also think if you manage to fix some of those other mistakes, you can definitely reach master. Like you do punish mistakes. Like you do punish very obvious mistakes, like this. So that's like the first thing that some people just don't do. You know, like maybe in your elo most people do that, but like I think even in D4 people probably don't punish enough mistakes, and that's why you also have those high damage numbers and stuff, right? You do go for this, but then you also do this. You know.
Yeah.
I could have told you 10 out of 10 times before that this is just not worth going for. Never. Like never if you don't have rocket belt up, which you don't. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, if you have Rocket Belt, maybe you can try to trade. But even then, like, she's just not ever gonna get stunned. And if she doesn't get stunned, you're not gonna kill her if she's this fat. And Caitlyn is one of those ADCs where, for the longest time, I really struggled against playing against her. Just because of her E. So, it's an ability where you honestly just need to respect it. Because it's so annoying, right? Like, getting slowed as well and whatever. Like, because even with the Rocket Belt, you sometimes are not able to follow up if you get hit by it, even with the extra dash. So against Caitlyn, you usually really just need to come from the sides if you want to 1v1 her. Oh, you didn't even proc your W
I didn't
here.
even get shield.
Yeah, I also didn't see.
Shield.
That was actually like, well, maybe that's.
If I got that, it could have gone differently because then I would have had much more HP.
Yeah, definitely.
My abilities back up.
Damn, yeah, that's actually a massive mistake here. You would have killed her. You would have killed her for 100%.
Sure.
It was so close.
Abilities. Oh, that's so sad.
And then here,
I flash up and my abilities.
Yeah, I mean, first thing, as I said in game already, of course, if you're not on like 60% HP here, you have a much better chance anyways. But then, yeah, of course, if you proc your shield as well, the fight looks different.
I really thought I got it.
Yeah, like this stuff you do well, right? Like the rocket ball combos and whatever, that was good. So it's really not a mechanical problem. It's just small decisions that just get punished in your elo. Like they do get punished. I just wonder, like I'm just thinking really quick here. You could have won this.
How much does my W get?
Like because now you flash away in a second here.
Yeah, because I had.
I was just thinking in game if you could have queued and then if you're an E and you could have at least like traded kills and it would have still been very worth. You know.
How much does my W shield give here?
350. 350. Yeah, it would definitely, like if you would have procced that here, then it would have been much better.
Yeah.
Would have tanked like 2 more autos and whole fight looks different 100%. So yeah, this actually was also Probably the second biggest mistake this game, or at least like this is what could have made it so the game is very playable for you again. You get that shot down here. Yeah, definitely hurts missing out on that. But you can just see, right? Like you died 4 times or like 3 times in a row, and still these kind of opportunities they will come up. Like this is not like a thing that only happened this game. It's for sure something that's gonna happen all the time, where there will be opportunities coming up, but you just need to take advantage of them. And here you really just didn't look there. I don't know. We were kind of talking. Also, maybe that distracted you, but you really did not look at the minimap.
No,
like now you need to turn around. Like when did I even? Yeah, like when did you turn around? Like at 6:25, you should have started turning around.
Not even here yet. I think here I went.
Yeah, like just 5 seconds too late, and this guy fought for so long. If you're already kind of in a position here, you might be able to.
We would have totally double killed them. Maybe Brand was dead, but they should have both died.
I mean, I don't know if you could have actually done too much. I mean, you kind of also walk. Wait, let's see. When could you have turned around? At what point? Like, how quickly would you have? Because they had vision, of course. So like, if you turn around now, you probably would have been around like here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, you could have definitely done something. Yeah, probably would have been able to place a W here and then do something for sure.
Like low enough to die from an E auto, I think.
Yeah. I mean, this would have not turned the game nearly as much as getting the shutdown, but it would have, of course, still been good.
But it would have helped.
Sure. Yeah. And here, like, honestly, I even knew that this was gonna be there because she placed the. I don't know if this was even new, but we saw her place this exact trap before. So I think you shouldn't even step into these brushes if you know that Caitlyn's around. It's not like it hurt you here because she wasn't in range to auto attack, but still. I mean, it kind of gave you info. It gave her info.
700 damage for no reason.
And here, this is the kind of thing. Like, I don't know how often you do this, but I assume that you will do this sometimes, where you just do the same thing. You know, like basically the definition of sanity.
Definition of sanity, yeah.
Where you're just like trying to do exact same thing, and of course it's not gonna work again, and you're just again on 60% here. So it's just like, yeah, I don't know. You need to learn in these kind of games. You know, like optimally, you obviously know before the game happens, before this kind of stuff happens already from like past experience from other games. You can know that this kind of stuff happens, but at least if you don't, then try to really adapt in game and like learn from it, you know, and don't make the same couple of mistakes the whole time again. And then here, I think this is the second situation where I think you could have just thrown a Q back. Like, yeah, okay, the Caitlyn was here, so it would have been a mistake.
It was on cooldown, I think.
No, but in 0.5 seconds, it's not, you know.
Okay.
So like, I saw that you also thought about ulting back.
WR.
Yeah, exactly. But it shouldn't just be WR. You can literally use all of the abilities before ulting back. Like,
I think I was afraid of pushing her out of my ult clone, basically.
If she's chasing you like this, look, like the clone's even behind, and she the way she's been playing anyways. But like most people won't expect you to ult back you, even higher elos. Trust me. And this guy's actually building very squishy, so you might even be able to one shot. So, just like Q, W, ult. She will stay here. Like, she won't run away instantly to the top. Trust me. Like, no one reacts like that. And then you can even E and then ult back, and you're definitely gonna burst her a lot. Might even kill her. And I don't even think it matters that much at Caitlyn is here, because you're gonna proc your passive. You're just gonna run.
Yeah. There was no reason for Caitlyn to be there, I think, though.
I mean, she kind of just expected.
She decided, you know what? Never mind. I'm gonna stay.
Yeah, I think she expected you to be able to punish you here. So, I mean, definitely a bit of a cheesy thing for her, but yeah. And just, I'm saying, like, in these situations, the W is gonna repel her way more than the Q is, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this makes it obvious that you want to do something, and that's why exactly what she does here, she runs away, you know?
Yeah.
If you just Q her, she might just tank the shots, because she was disrespecting here, honestly. She was too close. Your Q would have just hit her. And your Q at this point, it also slows a lot. So, yeah, she might be able to escape with her, like, W movement speed. But, you know, if she doesn't for half a second, and she doesn't react quickly enough, you can just ult back and really punish her, maybe. But definitely not, like, the best situation, just because the Caitlyn is behind, of course. But just for the future, you know, there will be situations that are similar to this. And then even here, I think, like, right now we can't see the ult, but even here, I think just ult, you know? Especially after she chunks you like this. You know, in a second here she will chunk you again, and then she's walking here somewhere where you could have just ulted. See, like now ult. I think it would have hit her. It's around here, or like half a second earlier. So you would have healed quite a bit. You would have been almost full HP, and you would have hit her, and you would have proc passive, and all of this, and then like the Caitlyn would not have been able to punish you.
Yeah, if I hit her with R, she was dead for sure. Because look how much
Yeah,
damage
she's
she
very
did.
low. Yeah, that's like a big thing. I mean, okay, she could have flashed no matter what, but
Yeah.
this is such a like mindset that I often see with Ekko mains. You know, like basically most elos is just like they want to last hit with the ult or something, but that's not like that's not even good. You know, you shouldn't be last hitting with ult. Yeah, it does look nice, but it's not good. Like it's actually better if you can hit it in the beginning, and then you will get people below the W threshold as well. You know, from your passive damage,
Yeah.
you will get them there quicker. The only thing, of course, why you don't always want to ult early is because sometimes you also want to heal. You know, but in this situation, you would have even healed quite a bit because she just chunked you before. Yeah, I think the biggest thing in these situations where you actually want to ult back is just like throw the Q. You also want to apply the stacks, of course, so that you can proc passive right away when you go back, you know. You don't want to ult back and then be very slow. You usually want to proc passive right away if you can. Yeah, and then here, this fight you just played very impatiently. You know, this is what you
In a
told me
way,
before,
fast.
even. This is...
Yeah.
I wrote this down for general notes. It's like, throw Qs. Like, throw Qs in these team fights. There's no reason for you to E in there. Literally just stand here, throw a bunch of Qs, apply your stacks, poke them. You know, you have
And then
Aatrox, for
go-
example, you have Thresh, like these champs, that they can be in the front end, and then you'll just apply your stacks, wait for good opportunities to proc your passive, and do that one after the other, basically. But instead you just eat in, you tanked a lot of damage, and you basically just, like, didn't achieve too much, you know? Like, yeah, you didn't die instantly, maybe, but you also could have, like, you could have just done so much
I
more.
achieved basically nothing.
Yeah,
Like a
like,
little poke, maybe.
you stunned the pike or whatever, but that's really it. So in this fight, you proc passive on... I don't even know if you proc passive on the
Think.
pike. But it definitely,
Yeah,
like...
I'm not sure.
Yeah, just really try to proc passive on as many people as possible, of course.
Yeah, I think I did proc it. Yeah.
Doesn't even matter. I mean, you would have died no matter what. The point is just like... This fight you played really, really impatiently.
Yeah.
And I think it could have actually went in your favor. If you would have just like... It's fine that you stay in here, but like don't E forward, you know? Hold your E for dodging this or whatever, and just like zone people with your W. And then apply stacks and whatever, and also don't get hit by everything. You really, like, you would never have gotten hit by
literally
everything. Yeah. So, yeah, at this point the game was definitely looking a bit rough. Although you still had the Drakes, right? Like, that's still a backup, though. The problem with Drakes is just that they're not even as impactful anymore. Although, I mean, the soul is actually buffed, right? So if you do get all the Drakes, it's definitely not bad.
I feel like Hextech Soul is really good on Ekko.
Yeah, it's very solid, for sure. That was still definitely a nice win con for you.
Missing the portal is also just
Here,
I think
here,
that's,
here you got really mad at yourself, but for the wrong reason, you know. I said this in game already. Like, place your W. There's no reason to not place your W before going over. Always place your W, probably around here or here. It really depends on what your read is. I would even say here is not even a bad idea because your Thresh is here. But like the fact that you don't place your W here is just like the biggest mistake. Yeah, you missed your, like, you did your combo wrong. Again, kind of just impatience, honestly, this combo. Just next time, just E on the minion, like auto attack the minion, Q, and then you'll be able to rocket belt. You know, like auto attack the minion now, or just like honestly, you could just like rocket belt, and then you'll have the movement speed and rocket belt, and like your E auto attack will be in range, and then you can just Q and like one more auto, and she'll be dead. But if that's not really available and she's a little bit further away, could have also just E'd on the minion, then Q'd, then rocket belted, and you would have caught up to her as well. But like this, you just kind of throw out your Q and your rocket belt at the same time, and well, that's definitely a tilter. But yeah, and then also Flash not being available for like literally 2 seconds. It's definitely a rough one.
It was unfortunate.
but the big thing is just the W, because
yeah.
just imagine you have the W somewhere here, she's gonna get slowed, you know, and then none of this can even happen.
I think I needed to massively misplay that to not get that kill. Like I had
Yeah,
so many
definitely.
options.
Yeah,
I think my
definitely.
brain just disconnected. Like, okay, I can do 17 different ways of killing her, and I went for the 18th option and not kill her.
Yeah. And that's why you also need to make sure you put in as many variables that will help you to kill her, and that like the one missing is the W, you know? So you basically just ruled out like half of those options just by not placing a W. Because of course, even if this happens, what happened here, if you have the W somewhere to slow her, then you're still gonna kill her, you know? And just like, I don't know, just get into the habit anyways, you know? Like, yeah, maybe in this
Yeah.
situation you might not have needed it necessarily, but it's still like a habit you should be building to just always place your W. Because most of the time you just want it for the shield anyways.
I think Thresh gets it anyway, but
Yeah, the Orianna even died. How did you not get an assist? I feel like that was still so short, honestly. I guess it was quite some time between.
I think it's about 11 seconds since my last hit, maybe 12.
I don't know. See what even happens here. It was good.
Yeah, I
You
should've
you
immediately
just
art.
yeah,
I
you
saw
didn't
the
really
animation
see.
from the Caitlyn trap, and I was like,
Okay.
ah, I can make it out, but it's just greedy.
No. Yeah, in these situations, really no reason to be greedy anyways. You're like in a good position to actually fight this. You could have died here for sure
Yeah,
if you
for
live.
sure. I mean, if I was alive, maybe.
Yeah,
Did I have flash? I think I had flash, so.
yeah, you even had flash, so you would have been full HP. You probably would have been able to chase her down, get the
Yep.
700 gold. That definitely hurt as well. Like there were two really big situations now where you could have killed her. Let's see here. Here's like a smaller mistake, but look, like you know what Pyke does. Even if this was like the first game you ever play against Pyke, you should have been able to learn what this champ does. So why are you trading his 11-second cooldown for your 45-second cooldown in a second here? Like he's baiting you basically by getting hit by this, and now this is gonna happen 10 out of 10
Yeah.
times, you know?
That's true.
It's just like, unless you see him use it right before, you should never rocket belt on him like that, and now it's just gonna be much more difficult to do anything here, you know? Actually, exactly what happens here in a second is where you would need the rocket belt.
Yeah, I could have killed him here if I had rocket belt.
And then you
I
do
mean, I
actually
think I
kill him.
did
Never
kill him,
mind.
but-
Never mind. That was a later situation that I'm thinking about. There you actually had rocket belt. And then here, this. Wow, this guy. Yeah. Why did you flash? Why did you flash? I didn't. Yeah. I was so confused in game.
I don't think I was in rage. I think
No,
the
you
thing I wanted
were.
to do was to like jump scare her basically, so she didn't like flash or E out.
Jump scaring is not really a mechanic in League though. It's like, yeah, it's like nah.
I think Rengar uses the jump
Yeah,
scare.
yeah, Rengar uses it, but he's OP because he just needs to auto attack for that. No, but it's like she actually trolls you and gets the 2 stacks, and look, she is in range here. You
Yeah.
know, you have E. You literally just need to take like one small, tiny step forward, and then you E and proc passive, and you run, and you put so much pressure on them. Your threshold will come, and you might actually like turn the game here. You know, but instead you just flash in, hard commit, and then yeah, you still have 0.5 seconds for a Q. Let's see actually if you could have.
At least an art.
I think if you're really like spamming your Q, you could have gotten it out and maybe killed the Camille, which definitely would have been nice. You actually could have ulted here. Wait.
There.
Ah, yeah, no, you're right. Wait. Yeah, you're right. I think you are.
I think she instantly pretty much Lee Sin ulted me into an EE.
I think now looking at it again, the thing you should have done is just wait for your Q to come up again.
Yeah.
Because at this point the Q cooldown is actually shorter than the... Like, the way she's taking it here kinda late, you know? You will get your Q up again, so you could have just waited and then EQ'd, and then you would have killed her right away. And none of this could have happened even. And then you definitely stop the Nash. Like, and no matter what, like, this flash is just bad, you know? It's like it's a big cooldown, and it really achieved nothing. It actually kind of killed you even because you were way too close to them. Yeah. Kind of another pretty big opportunity missed for turning the game, in my opinion. Like now you're definitely a bit further behind overall, but still they made these like calls, and they can get punished if you're just a bit more patient.
I think that was a misplay from them that we just didn't capitalize
Exactly.
on.
And then here is where I actually wrote down, like, just because I was confused that you didn't just throw a Q at her. You know, like, just throw a Q at her in these situations. Any melee champs walking to your range, first reaction needs to just be Q, you know? It's not like it's gonna achieve much here, but it showed me that it's not a habit for you. You know, not really. Like, just throw Qs, always throw Qs. You want to apply stacks, you want to slow them, you want to just put some amount of pressure on. There's no reason to just let them walk away like that. And in a lot of situations, especially when you're kind of fed, it will definitely achieve something. And then here, I mean, you just don't have any follow-up.
I think I was hoping for them to focus the Drake and get it, but I think they got.
I mean, I don't even know. Aatrox's also not there for some reason. He's not TPing either. It's kind of weird.
Does he have TP?
Yeah.
I
mean, it shows he has it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
so he's just walking.
Yeah. And now he's
TPing. Yeah, it's definitely too late. But still, like, again, impatient, you know? It's just impatient. You just need to see that there's no real follow-up. And the Camille is also like, yeah, sometimes this happens. Like, this happens to me too, where sometimes I just don't realize someone is, like, in the backline or whatever. And that's why you don't get follow-up. But here you're just generally not in a position to even go for these kind of fights, you know? Where you can just go... Like, when you're fed, yeah, then you're doing well if you do this. If you're fed and if you're in a position to kill someone like this, then good job, you know? Like, you're actually achieving something. You're maybe picking someone off, and you can do it on your own as Ekko. But in your position, you should really just try to play more with your team, try to play a little bit slow. Like, your Vayne is doing fine, your Brand is actually doing fine, even though his stats don't look great, but Brand is just kind of an OP champ anyways. So you just need to try to look to focus single targets down at this point and not go in like 1v3 like this. Because it doesn't achieve much pulling them away here, honestly. I mean, this guy actually almost died, but the Camille is still somewhat winning on the bot lane here. And the Caitlyn, of course, you didn't even really have to play yet, so... Yeah, unlucky that you didn't get the Drake. It definitely would have been better if you gotten the Drake.
Yeah.
And this guy actually dies here, does he?
At least survived so close. That's so sad.
Yeah, I mean, and now this is where I wrote down, like, don't ego, you know?
Yeah, this is bad.
It's just, he's never gonna lose with these items, you know? Gore Drinker will always heal him, so this HP is even fake. He even has his W healing, shielding, everything, you know? And you're not fed here. If you're fed, okay, try to go for it, maybe. But, like, and you don't even have W anymore because you wasted it here. So that alone is just like, as soon as you place a W here and you don't get anything, just like leave, you know?
Run.
Yeah. And this death was definitely unnecessary. And I mean, I also think, for example, these kind of deaths, they just cause you to lose more on the map as well, you know? Could have maybe saved this tower if you would have been alive and cleared the minions, or here, you know?
Or just CS can actually get Rabadons.
Yeah, that as well, of course. But at least it's really just, you need to think about the fact that it's really not just 300 gold. It's also more that you lose on the map by dying there. Especially, like, the later the game goes, the worse your deaths are, of course. Let's see. Also here you had, like, no gold to spend because you just had kind of an awkward amount of gold anyways. And at this point you need to understand that you want to be as strong as possible. You know, like, you really want to spend all the gold you have, and so I think I wrote down, like, just recall now.
Be here and Rabbit get needlessly.
Yeah. Because you don't really need to be anywhere at this point in time, you know? Like, just take the like timing to get the extra 60 AP, and it might make the difference in being able to kill someone, you know? It's of course really hard to quantify, but I would say generally the less, or the more behind or the less ahead you are, the more important it is to spend your gold, you know? And the more ahead you are, the longer you can generally stay on the map, but even then you, of course, shouldn't overdo it, because then you might sometimes give shutdowns or whatever. So it's about finding a balance. Yeah, here's the situation that I was saying. So, I mean, first of all, of course, if you actually have a little bit better reactions, you can just E up here and then probably just kill him right away. But even now, he will give you an opportunity to kill him. Because this Q was good. It hit him. and then you dodge with your rocket belt. Instead, let him hit you, you know? He doesn't have E anymore. Let him hit you and you will kill him. He's either 10-second cooldown. So just wait. I mean, optimally, as I said, optimally you just E up. He doesn't have his dash anymore. He will just instantly pop, basically, because you have your rocket belt as well.
Punish him with rocket belt.
Yeah, because I mean, you do the rocket belt combo well. You just need to like this pike. I love playing against pikes as Ekko. Really, it's just free kills, and especially because this guy was literally begging you to kill him.
Yeah,
basically,
that's true.
if he has a stack, you get hooked. You're close to him. You auto attack, rocket belt, passive prop. Even if he wants to ult you or something, first of all, he's not gonna stun you here because he doesn't have his E. And then even if he wants to ult, you just ult yourself, you know. I'm sure you can have those kind of reactions. So this is a very common interaction. Of course, it's not like at all game deciding here, but I'm just saying like abuse it. Pyke is such a nice champ to kill. Very fun to play against Pyke because he's always squishy. He can't get tanky, right? Not really, because you know about his passive, right? With the
Just
not being able to gain HP. So and no Pyke ever builds him or whatever. So I mean, actually, if they do build more and whatever, they can become annoying to kill. But this guy didn't.
with Maul, sometimes they can survive combos, but
Yeah, and this was of course a bit of a hero play here.
yeah.
You just didn't hit the Pyke,
If
and
my W popped slightly earlier, and if I hit the Pyke and the Caitlyn, then it would have been great. But
maybe,
that's
yeah. But at this point, honestly, you might have to go for this kind of plays. So it's not even like something you should beat yourself up about, because you are 10k gold behind you. You need somewhat of a heroic play to win, you know. So I think there's not even like a big mistake to go for that. The mistakes are really just before all of this, of course, the stuff we talked about already. So yeah, after that, I didn't really write any more stuff down. I think they just got the Nash. Let's see if there's something I notice here. But at this point, of course, you are just in a very losing position. You're like 12k gold behind. I think, honestly, like, again, bit of a patience problem. I guess this rocket belt was also bad.
yeah.
But bit of a patience problem. Like, Lee Sin is not your target here. You really, really want to kill this Caitlyn by like all means if you can. So just like see if she maybe steps up or whatever, because we know that she's here, of course. But like, don't hard engage on this Lee Sin with the Caitlyn behind here. Try to do something to her if you can. I mean, see, like now you actually force her flash and everything, but it's just not enough. Yeah, I mean, she has flash and you also used yours.
Yeah.
So now it's just over. I mean, this guy was also not really willing to play the whole game, I'm gonna be honest. 6 kill participations. Yeah, so I guess now they just end. Yeah, but I think, as I said, I think mechanically you're completely fine and whatever, even for Master. It's just like these mistakes leading up to it and like these bad decisions that are holding you back quite a bit. So if you manage to work on those, it's definitely possible to reach Mastery. You obviously will have to play a bunch for it, but I think it's absolutely not out of your reach. Because I think the most difficult thing to improve on are mechanics, you know, and I would say you are there mechanically. Nice. It's just, yeah. I guess, yeah, really try to focus on dying less. You say this game was not a great representation, but honestly, I mean, if we look at the average stats, it was basically...
It was a good representation for my losses, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I think
and the losses is what you want to change, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Win harder, lose less.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you can also, for sure, improve in all of these losses, just looking at how many deaths you have, but... of course, the losses are what you really want to change for climbing, so... Yeah, I guess biggest thing really... Honestly, the biggest thing for you is just having a bit more patience. In like many ways, of course, but especially when fighting. Especially when fighting, have more patience. Like, don't commit on enemies just because you see them, you know? Like, throw a bunch of Qs first, see if they maybe make mistakes. And, like, wait for mistakes more as well, you know? You do punish mistakes well when they're actually happening, but you're also looking for mistakes when they're non-happening, basically. And like, or you're trying to punish mistakes when they're non-happening. Looking for mistakes, of course, is fine, but, like, you're basically making mistakes yourself. And, of course, everyone makes mistakes, but for you the frequency is just a bit too much, you know. Like dying these 3 times in a row and whatever. It's just
or nothing.
I mean, there were different kind of mistakes. Like the biggest one was of course the recalling, but
Recall.
then also just being like too impatient and like engaging on the Caitlyn multiple times and whatever. This kind of stuff is just really holding you back. And I
My
think
W
honestly that's like the biggest thing farm that also like honestly I think the reason your farm is this low is just your devs being this
die
high.
too much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just when you're not on the map, of course you're not farming, so it's automatically gonna lower your farm by quite a bit. So yeah, I guess do you have any more questions?
Nothing specific, I think.
Okay. Nothing that came up or whatever.
I think most of the things I did mention during the game already.
Okay.
So
I guess I can just show you one thing really quick why it makes sense to play the or like throwing out the Qs. I'm sure you are generally aware of it, but I just want to like I just want to show you exactly why you should just be throwing out Qs all the time in fights. Because you do use the rocket belt well, generally for the auto attack reset, but you only use it in like a very limited way, I guess. And there's a more advanced way that you can often use it as well. Or how you could often use it as well. I'm gonna show you, I guess. See, so the kind of oops, what's the yeah, the kind of combo you do oftentimes is this one. Why am I lagging? Oh, because Professor is opening. Okay. So the kind of combo you do, and you do it pretty well in a lot of fights, just like this one, which is of course the standard combo. But the kind of combo you could often do, because if you throw out Qs in fights, what will often happen is just that you apply one stack, right? You might, because they're not target dummies. So you will have one stack applied, and then you can just do, okay. Then you can just do like this combo, you know? Without your Q. And you now you will think, of course, oh yeah, this is so obvious, but like, you know, just proc the passive quicker. It will catch people off guard. Or like proc it without having 2 stacks. You know, especially in new elo, but even in like my games, like in low master games or whatever, people will not respect this combo where there's only one stack applied and you just E on them, apply the stack and then do the rocket belt. This is definitely one I think you should be adopting in your gameplay as well. Like, don't just I mean that's generally something honestly for you. You just didn't throw out enough Qs because oftentimes this will happen anyways. You know, especially in team fights where people just have 2 fights and then you do this and you just run away and like basically no champ in the game can really punish you unless they have point to click CC. You know, so. But this one is definitely a good extra combo, like a bit more unexpected, I guess. And if you know your damage well or whatever, then you can definitely use it. So yeah, I guess that's just a small thing I like to show you. And then of course also, as I'm saying, with like the ulting back, just throw the Q first. If you want, you can of course also E. Sometimes you might not want to because you of course might need the dash, but the E auto attack is of course a bit more burst.
Your auto goes much faster, longer range.
Yeah. So that's like the only mechanical stuff I think you can still maybe incorporate or improve on. And I guess, did you skill ult at level 6? I didn't even really... I know you
skilled it like at, I think like level 7 or 8 when it didn't
Yeah,
really
yeah, so
matter.
when you wanted to use it on that arena. Yeah. It's definitely good. I think other than that, I don't have much more to tell you. I hope this was helpful though.
Sure.
So... yeah, if you have any more questions or whatever, you can always hit me up on Discord and I will try to help you. And yeah, I guess I'm gonna stop the recording.